Welcome back. You're watching India Tonight. I'm Shubhani Khara joining you from Mumbai, and joining us from Chennai is my colleague Jude Sanetha. Mumbai Metro's Line 7A that was scheduled to start operation in 2021 could once again face delays. Now, authorities have said that elevated wire duct in Vile Parle East is posing a risk and could face demolition. The height of the overhead electric wires for the metro exceeds the clearance permitted by the Airports Authority of India in the airport zone. Now, if a technical solution is not found, then work worth rupees 250 crore will have to be redone. So, I mean, this is not the first planning error that, Mumbai has witnessed actually over the past couple of years. There have been blasphemies, including the Mira Bhainder flyover, the Gokhale Road to Andheri East flyover, and several such projects where, the planning has in fact been questioned, Jude.
Absolutely, Shubhani, and as a Mumbaiker yourself, I can understand that it must definitely be more than just frustrating to witness this happening, one after the other. But the question we're asking is, was it a planning error or a coordination mismatch? I mean, whatever it is, the error could lead to not just a waste of taxpayers' money, but also further delays of a metro line that could connect the airport to key areas in Mumbai. This incident has once again put the spotlight on the need to address the gaps in urban planning. And to help us figure that out, we're being joined by Dikshu Kukreja, architect and urban planner, and managing principal architect at CP Kukreja Architects. Mr. Kukreja, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast tonight. My first question to you, and let's start with the most basic question, right? How does a 250 crore rupee piece of infrastructure project get built before then being discovered as having possible airport zone height restriction violations? Make it make sense.
I wish I could, Jude, make it make sense. It definitely is a serious flaw, and it points to something which is fundamental, that as we are marching towards seeing our country become a developed nation, we really will have to leave behind this archaic system of getting consultants on board and construction agencies on board, because this is not going to lead us anywhere. It is a matter of embarrassment. And what we tend to forget are the indirect costs. You are mentioning 250 crores, but let's not forget the indirect cost of how much time wastage, how much economic loss is there because the project will get delayed. Add to it the fact that what is the imageability of the nation? Does that carry a certain value when the world over people see us making these kind of goof-ups? So it is all in all something that is totally avoidable and should be seen with a very strict lens. The chalta hai attitude will have to be thrown out of the window if we really need to progress in a professional manner. Coming to the specifics of this project, of course, this project has already got delayed. The cost overruns have been there. And for this to happen in the financial capital, and this, by the way, would be one of the most important lines, I would say, in a way, in the metro network of Mumbai. So all in all, it's something which is really not acceptable. And I feel that somewhere we need to also re-examine when our Honorable Prime Minister talks about, a self-reliant India. I completely endorse that great vision of him. Then why are we turning again and again towards international consultants? Do they bring that global expertise? Do they do this kind of work in their home country? Have they ever done this kind of mistake, and how have they been penalized there? I have realized here that a lot of times our municipal authorities, when they are acting as procurement agencies, they seem to just turn a blind eye. They just think that if they are going to get a foreign consultant, everything's going to go hunky-dory. That's not correct, and that's not appropriate as well if you were to look at any kind of fair and equitable practice.
Right. Mr. Kukreja, now help us understand, this is not a one-off project, that has been miscalculated, the Line 7A. Of course, the much discussed and a lot of meme material was made out of the entire Gokhale Barfiwala link flyover. The infamous 4-lane to 2-lane Mira Bhainder flyover was much discussed. The coastal road right in the heart of the city, the promenade, still remains unconnected 1 year after launching that coastal road promenade. why can such blunders, why do such blunders keep on happening again and again in a city like Mumbai with the richest municipal corporation?
So let me simplify the reasons for you, Shivani. First and foremost, it has to do with the method of procurement, which I just mentioned about. That, our governments, procurement agencies in the public sector think that if you go with the lowest bid, you're doing great service to the country. Well, sometimes you don't have to just throw peanuts to get and expect the best to come your way. And nowhere in the world, when such important works are done, you're looking at only the lowest cost for selection of consultant, lowest cost for selection of contractor. Why do you have to do that? You have to be getting rid of this myopic perspective and thinking you've done a great justice to the nation by saving costs right there. And this always this umbrage of CVC guidelines that they mandate that we must go with the lowest service provider and lowest construction agency. This needs to be also changed. I don't think this is working. It doesn't work in today's age. You need to give quality and technical assessment far greater weightage than thinking that you can only get something which is costing the least. That's number one. The second is that when design and planning is done, we don't have to unnecessarily rush through it through absolutely unrealistic deadlines. So the tender documents will talk about mega projects being complete DPRs, detailed project reports being completed in 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks. It doesn't work that way. In the Western world, if we want to take the good side of it, I'm not saying everything they do is right, but one thing they do for sure, which is right, is they take time in planning. But once it's planned, the execution is flawless. There are no hiccups during construction stage. Here we are going the other way around. We take pride that we have started the work in 6 weeks or 12 weeks, and then after that, it takes eternity for projects to finish. That's not the right approach. Plan it properly, have it audited properly. Somebody else must be able to check everything and guarantee that, yes, whatever the original designers have done is right, and then go full on for the construction. We are not following that model. Another dangerous trend which has happened and is resulting in some of the serious flaws that you've spoken about, some of the infrastructure projects, our country has moved towards a system of EPC. You're keeping the same agency which is going to do the detailed engineering, and they are going to do the construction as well. Now, on the face of it, sounds good because you think you're bringing one agency to do it all, but you're forgetting one serious factor, that here there's a serious conflict of interest. In good old times, architects, engineers, planners were on one side of the table. They would design it till the last detail, and the execution agency was a separate one, which would only follow those drawings, documents to execute it. Now, by blending the two, it's become a very convenient model where there are shoddiness in engineering, which gets hidden under the carpet in the garb of construction, concealed quickly, and construction is happening. I'm worried about this trend because
Mr. Kukreja, I'm sorry to interrupt you here, but I mean, the burning question is, Mr. Kukreja, the burning question is, irrespective of whether there are two entities that perform this task or they're part and parcel of the same entity, airport height restrictions are not new. So shouldn't this ideally have been the first box that you take off, right? Clearances from the Airports Authority. Shouldn't this have been one of the first boxes that you take off before planning and construction actually began? I mean, where did 7A get it so wrong as far as something as pedestrian as this is concerned?
Totally pedestrian, Jude. And most certainly you are right. The correct way to do it is you need to be aware of all the statutory norms that have to be followed. You create those checklists. You go through that complete process of approvals, and you ensure you have your approvals in place. Now, unfortunately, the details are not available with me that how come the project even started construction without having these approvals in place. You need to get an NOC from the Airport Authority of India, and only then you can start such a project. But maybe in the garb of infrastructure project, which is belonging to
now the golden question, Mr.
Kukreja.
Now 200 to 250 to 260 crore of total pegged loss for this miscalculation on line 7A. Who pays this? Who is responsible for this loss? Will it be towards these blacklisted contractors? Who will pay for it? Is it the Aam Janta, the citizens, the tax-paying citizens like us?
Eventually, it's you and me, of course. Who else? It goes from our taxpayers' money. The accountability can be fixed I don't know what kind of investigations will happen and how long they will take and how much accountability will actually get fixed out of this amount towards the contractors or the people who've actually done the detailed project reports or the designing of it. It depends how that goes, how much accountability. But yes, if it is something which is of faltering with the actual security of aviation, and the overhead electric lines in this case are going beyond the height limit prescribed by airport authority, then it's a serious safety issue, in which case there aren't that many alternatives other than probably knocking down this entire stretch, which is going to be loss of taxpayers' money. And like I said, how much indirect costs associated with the fact of delay and loss of business.
Thank you so much for joining us today on ET Now, sharing your inputs on this. These kind of lapses that we have seen over the past few years. Now,